A year ago, Samsung ditched the plastic and removable batteries for metal and glass, but LG stood firm with a removable back and swappable batteries. This year, LG has caught on with the trend but retained its power user pedigree. Meet the modular LG G5. This year, LG set out to revamp its flagship to its core. For starters, it's completely made out of metal, an aluminium alloy coated with a special primer and a layer of paint. And while the LG G5 doesn't feel as metal-like as some of its rivals, LG claims its alloy solution is lightweight and stronger. That strength is key for the G5's modular side. The bottom of the phone is detachable, making the battery swappable. LG calls this mechanism the magic slot and has made a few accessories for it. Friends. One is the Cam Plus camera grip. It adds a 2-step shutter button and zoom dial along with a small built-in battery. Another accessory is the Hi-Fi Plus made by Bang & Olufsen. It's a digital to analog converter that can play back high-res audio or can upscale your regular digital tracks to 32-bit. It has its own headphone jack too, although we have to say the LG G5 doesn't look that hot when you have the Hi-Fi Plus plugged in. Another accessory, the LG 360 Cam, a small camera with two 13-megapixel wide-angled lenses that combine for 360-degree view of the world. It can capture stills as well as QHD video. Another area where the G5 brings an overhaul is the control scheme. Now the volume buttons are more traditionally mounted on the side of the phone, while the power button is still on the back. The button also doubles as a fingerprint reader. Setting it up is instantaneous, and so is unlocking with it. The reader is easily one of the fastest around, on par with Huawei's scanners, as well as Apple's Touch ID and Google's Nexus imprint. Large screen lovers will likely frown at the new display, which has gone from 5.5 to 5.3 inches, but the slight decrease makes the phone much easier to manage in the hand. The Quad HD panel isn't as bright as the one on the LG G4, but offers a big boost in contrast, which is most noticeable in the deeper blacks. Outdoor visibility is good, though not on the level of recent AMOLED phones or the iPhone 6s. There are 32GB of internal storage, but you can increase it through the microSD card slot. The LG G5 is one of the few phones out there to still carry an IR blaster as well as an FM radio. LG's software is now up to Android Marshmallow, but its design blueprint hasn't changed much and is still a hate it or love it affair. LG has decided to scrap the app drawer altogether, so you get all of your apps on the home screen like an iOS. Like Samsung, LG has an always-on display mode. The LCD has a separate controller that's in charge of a limited number of pixels only. It uses them to show notifications as well as the time and date. None of these are actionable, so you have to unlock the G5 to see details, and the always-on feature sips close to 1% of your battery per hour. Speaking of battery life, the G5 battery life is decent, though not overly impressive. We've seen bigger batteries on smaller phones, but at least the battery here is easily replaceable. You can rely on solid talk time and video playback times, but the web browsing runtime is poor. When we turned the always-on display, it shaved off up to 10 hours from our 60-hour endurance rating. It's good that the G5 offers the latest Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0, giving you 80% charge in only a half an hour's time. The LG G5 packs a cool Snapdragon 820 chipset and 4GB of RAM, a platform that's at the cutting edge of mobile technology at the moment. The quad-core processor is a chart topper and only ever sees resistance from Samsung's Exynos and Apple's A9, while the Adreno 530 GPU tops our charts. In real-world usage, the LG G5 is blazing fast. We never had a moment of slowdown and the phone never got close to hot, only warm under load. Perhaps the biggest innovation from the G5 is the cameras. LG retained the excellent 16-megapixel f1.8 optically stabilized camera from the G4 and V10, but added a second ultra-wide-angle 8-megapixel unit next to it. The 135-degree wide-angle camera doesn't have autofocus and doesn't serve up impressive detail, but offers something very unique in the smartphone world. If you're not pixel peeping, the 8-megapixel super-wide snaps will capture you a surprisingly refreshing view of your surroundings. The more conventional 60-megapixel stills are rich in detail with great color and wide dynamic range. There is some strong sharpening going on and some noise creeps into solid color areas even in good light, but overall, the camera offers good processing. The screen matching 16:9 aspect is lovely too. The 8-megapixel selfie snapper is good too. You can get 4K video from both the main and the wide-angle cameras. Quality is great, as expected. While the smartphone industry is taking a step back from the megapixel race, LG has searched for innovation elsewhere. The main camera is still among the best on the smartphone, while the ultra-wide-angle camera on the G5 is unique and fun. In the end of this review, we have to admit that the LG G5 industrial design didn't win many hearts here at our office, but looks are subjective. The new metal body of the LG G5 may not be to everyone's liking, but is definitely a step up from the plastic of the LG G4. With the G5, LG didn't just follow market logic, it boldly stepped up and innovated. For one, the modular design opens up a host of possibilities and allows for the coveted removable battery in a unibody phone. Then there is the dual camera setup, which gives you a great standard camera and secondary snapper, which will be better in capturing sweeping vistas or tight spaces. There's not much to complain about with the LG G5 either. It's a true powerhouse in the way that none of its predecessors was, and it just goes to show that nowadays, flagship smartphones are more than ever among the most amazing technological products of our time.